Hi everyone and welcome back to Taiwan Tech Dispatch. I'm your host White Shoe. In our last episode, episode 12, we broke down what TAM or Total Addressable Market really means for startups and why it's so crucial when aiming for unicorn potential. Today, we're not repeating that TAM lecture. Instead, we're asking, what happens if you don't go global? What if you stay local, keep building, and never scale beyond Taiwan? The answer? You get stuck. Not because of your product, not because of your team, but because the market just isn't big enough to let you grow. This is what I call the TAM Trap. And today, we are going deep into how it plays out through a painful pattern called involution. Let's jump in. Chapter 1: The Cost of Staying Local. Let's be clear. Focusing on Taiwan as your launch market makes sense. You know the language, culture, regulations. Your network's here. Your early users are here. But here's what founders often overlook. Staying local has a cost. A big one. When 5, 10, even 20 well-funded startups all stay local, competing for the same 23 million people, it stops being strategy and starts being warfare. You're not building new categories. You're just slicing the same pie thinner and thinner. Teams start copying each other. Promotions become a race to the bottom. Burn rates go up. Differentiation goes down. No one wins. And even worse, you start to mistake motion for progress. That's what we mean by involution. Startups working harder and harder, but getting nowhere fast. Chapter 2: Case Studies of Involution by Industry. Let's ground this in some real examples. Mobile payments. Taiwan has at least half a dozen major players. Line Pay, Jaco Pay, PX Pay, EasyCut Pay, and more. Everyone's throwing cashbacks, points, discounts at users. But most aren't profitable because users have no loyalty and there just aren't enough of them. You can't all win in a zero-sum market unless someone goes global. Digital learning platforms, solid tech, smart teams. But Taiwan's student population is shrinking fast. Platforms compete over the same users with nearly identical content. Without going cross-border into Southeast Asia, Japan, or beyond, the growth ceiling hits hard. Shared scooters. Startups like Waymo and GoShare delivered fantastic UX, but the business model just doesn't scale in Taiwan alone. High maintenance costs, limited fleet size, and tough unit economics. Expanding to Southeast Asia makes sense, but that leap requires capital. localization, and strategic support, and many never make it. Restaurant SaaS. This is one of my favorites because the products are so well designed. But even if you land 1,000 restaurants in Taiwan, your revenue potential remains modest. And selling POS or ordering software overseas is not plug and play. You need to navigate payment systems, labor laws, interface redesigns. Most teams don't have the time or capital to figure that out, so they stay put. And involution kicks in. All of these examples have one thing in common. They are stuck in the TAM trap. Not because they lack innovation, but because they never plan to grow beyond their home turf. Chapter 3: What Founders Must Understand. So here's the big takeaway. Building for Taiwan only is like building a rocket with no launchpad. You can engineer everything perfectly, but you'll never reach orbit unless you scale beyond. Founders often think, we'll grow here first, then expand later. But in small markets like Taiwan, later often never comes. Because revenue flatlines, valuations stall, and teams get too busy surviving to think bigger. That's when the TAM trap becomes permanent, and breaking out gets harder, not easier, over time. Closing. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Taiwan Tech Dispatch. If this hit home, don't worry, you're not alone. The first step is awareness. The next step, start thinking globally from day one. If you want to continue this conversation, connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search White Shoe. Read the full article on our blog, whitehsu.blog. Subscribe on Spotify or YouTube, and follow our Facebook page for updates and behind-the-scenes thoughts. Until next time, keep building and keep thinking bigger. This is White Shoe signing off.